So now let us discuss the depressive disorders. See, we have all used this term depression, that I am depressed or he is just depressed. However, the term should not be used so lightly. When people use terms like these very lightly, they become common tongue. No, a person is sad. When a person is sad on a daily basis and is not able to do something or anything about it, and even after doing it, he is still sad. And when he tries to do something, he becomes anxious or does not have the energy to do anything. And when he does something, he goes back to the loop of being sad. When all his doing fails, when sadness persists for a duration that is long because of a trauma, because of something that happened, because that something has happening on a daily basis, we can term it into depressive disorder. One of the most widely prevalent and recognized of all mental disorders is depression. Depression covers a variety of negative moods and behavior changes. Depression can refer to symptom or a disorder. See, that people, when we say depression, it's depression as a symptom. But what we are discussing it is a deeper term, which is disorder. In day-to-day life, we often use the term depression to refer normal feelings after a significant loss, as the breakup of a relationship or failure to attain to a significant goal. However, major depressive disorder is defined as a period of depressed mood, loss of interest or pleasure in most activities. Understand that a person is feeling sad now. They are not even interested to feel good. They have no interest to do anything. They do not find pleasure in activities that most people do. Now, understand here, based on something which is beyond the syllabus, how does feeling arrive? So, I, as your teacher, if I get an award, you will feel happy because you are attached to me. But a teacher who you do not know gets an award, you'll be, this emoji is not fine, but you will be neutral, no? So, how does feeling in general is generated through attachment? So, we are attached to people, things, our own goals, achievements, etc. Wherever we are attached, we will generate a feeling. If you're not attached, there will be no feeling. Herein, this person loses interest in sometimes one's own self too. So they are just sitting alone, feeling that emptiness. And even at times, this depressive disorder, as it's stated, it could be a spiritual thing too, because if you understand, spirituality is about detachment. And once a person detached, they don't actually get the feelings that most people do. So essentially, spirituality is about creating this attachment which is in this world, which is selfish, which is variable, which is not stable. This attachment, when it happens with God, detachment from everything is a consequence. So we are understanding depression here. This is the spiritual aspect of it, how feeling is arrived from attachment, that sometimes a person who is depressed could just be, one push away from entering the realm of spirituality or getting attached to God. So sometimes when I used to help people and people used to come with their problems, sometimes people ask me, how can you listen to problems all day? Now I cannot, but when I used to, I never saw them as problems. Once you see people as problems, then your job is a problem. But if you see as a counselor, as a psychologist, everyone who comes to you as an opportunity for growth, as a person who will grow so much out of this, as a person who will now take up the name of God, as a person who will take up yoga, a person who will find new ways to cope up, and actually this downfall will bring out a seed of joy, of growth, of a journey which is completely new. Our perspective as a counselor, as a psychologist changes. Back to our course curriculum, I go here and there because the purpose of teaching psychology is also to discuss life in some depth and also spirituality where I can. Major depressive disorder is defined as a period of depressed mood or a loss of interest or pleasure in most activities, together with other symptoms, which may include change in body weight. Sometimes people get fat, sometimes they get thin, constant sleep problems, unable to sleep, a lot of tiredness, just थके हुए हैं, we just are tired, we have no energy, inability to think clearly. A person finds it very difficult to make decisions because they are not able to think in a straight structured manner. Herein journaling plays a very good role, and we should recommend people to write their thoughts. Agitation, just getting irritated by something or the other. Greatly slowed behavior and thoughts of death and suicide. So life is meaningless, there is nothing to do in life, there is no purpose to life. It's better if I was not alive. Why did not I die in the accident that happened? Maybe people are better without me, etc., etc., etc. Herein, how to cope up with depression, a point would be purpose. So we have to create meaning and purpose in someone's life, especially when they are depression, because depression is you have nothing that makes you generate energy. You're attached to nothing, you don't want to do anything. So purpose is something that drives us. We are studying right now with the purpose of becoming counselor, psychologist, or just to learn psychology for 12th grade. Point is that there is a purpose, and that purpose has brought us here or making us watch this video. If there is no purpose, there is no drive. What will we do? Why to get out of the bed itself? So a purpose drives you, and then two other terms are aggression, and then the second is expression. So a person who lacks purpose goes into depression. The opposite of depression is aggression. Not that we'll make them fight, we'll make them walk, we'll make them talk, we'll make them, just a bit of fight in them should be there. This aggression does not mean violence in any way. This aggression means that it's just the opposite of total depression. So making them think about life, making them bring a cause in their life, making them help animals, making them support the poor, bringing a purpose like, enlightenment or just to get the service of the Lord or bhakti yoga. And this is expression. So everyone in their life journey has something or the other that they are skilled with, that they went through. So how can we turn their skill set past trauma into a career, into something in which they can express? So they can be teachers, they can now start helping other people who are into depression, who went through a breakup, etc., etc. So a purpose, a goal in a small way is created, which brings an expression and a bit of aggression. Some activity is herein stated as aggression, which is the antidote of depression. So expression, aggression, purpose brings the drive. This purpose could be material as well as spiritual. Other symptoms include excessive feeling of guilt, feeling of worthlessness. So I am not meant for anything. There is nothing to do. I just feel guilty. I made this mistake. I made that mistake. I did that, and then I did that, and then I did that, and just feeling sad. Factors disposing towards depression. Genetic makeup. So if my father is or has gone through depression, then there are higher chances that that genetic code is within me too. So genetic is one of the major factors. It's a risk factor for major depression and other depressive disorders. Age is also a risk factor. How? For instance, women are partially at risk during young adulthood, while for men, the risk is highest in early middle age. So why have they stated this? That women are particularly at risk during young adulthood, while men are at risk at early middle age. They should have been explained this. They have not explained this. Let's talk to ChatGPT for this. Hello ChatGPT, I wish to discuss a specific question that I have. Herein it stated that women go through particularly depression in young adulthood, whereas men do it in early middle age. What's the reason to state this? The statement is based on general trends observed in psychological and sociological research. Women are more prone to depression in young adulthood, while men experience it in early middle age. Biological and hormonal differences. Women experience hormonal fluctuations during puberty, menstrual cycles, pregnancy, postpartum, all of which contribute to emotional instability, risk of depression in younger. Men, on the other hand, do not face such hormonal fluctuations, but they do in their middle age gradual decline of testosterone. So one of them is biological factors. So hormonal fluctuations in females and males take up at different stages, which cause a certain sense of depression. Social and life expectations. In young adulthood, women often face significant societal and personal pressures, while middle aged people, career stagnation, financial pressures, existential crisis for men. Coping mechanisms and expression of distress. Women tend to internalize distress, leading to higher rates of diagnosed depression earlier in life. They are also more likely to seek help and verbalize emotional struggles. Men often externalize distress through work, risk taking, or avoidance. They may not recognize depressive symptoms until they reach a breaking point in their middle age, once they are tired. Midlife crisis for men, this has been seen. And relationship and support differences. Women often build strong emotional support networks early in life so that they receive support in the later ages, but men actually disturb all of their personal relations to make up a career and then they feel alone. So, see, when we study psychology, we are supposed to not just leave things when we read something. I do not, and we do not wish to read psychology or study psychology for just the purpose of scoring good in exams. No, our purpose is to understand things in depth, and this is how we do it. So, even though this is not mentioned at that line, maybe it would be mentioned in the future in the other pages, but I do not know because I teach spontaneously most times. So, biological and hormonal differences, social and life expectations, coping mechanisms and expression of distress, midlife crisis, and role transition in men, and relationship and support differences. So, this line was not explained herein. Similarly, gender also plays a great role in this differential risk addition. So that is what we just studied. For example, women in comparison to men are more likely to report for depressive disorder. Other risk factors are experiencing negative life events and lack of social support. A part of this was discussed. So what was there? There was hormonal differences. Then there was the role transition. Then there was support that people get in the different time, midlife crisis, coping mechanisms. Coping mechanisms. So, coping mechanisms, and then there was societal expectations at different ages, different disorder. So, this is just a summary of depressive disorder. This is we will study bipolar in the next session. So that's it for now. If you have any doubts, please send me a WhatsApp message.